What's up, degenerates? Matt Merrigan here for Cold Bear Sports. Well, we have a man on the screen here who I don't recognise. He seems to have got his head skint. Let's hope the bookies don't leave him skint. This week at Cheltenham, Joe Value, how's things? Hope you're well. We're getting closer. Sleepless nights. How are you feeling?
Yeah, pretty excited. All right. With the haircut, I had enough of trying to hide the bald patch, so I just got rid of the whole lot and get it on with it. You know?
His ball blended into one patch.
Exactly.
Right, lads, with no Mickey D with us, he had problems with his Wi-Fi, so couldn't make it. So myself and Joe will dig out a few winners. We're going to focus on the handicaps for you. If you want to see our podcast we did with Ken Whelan on a few weeks ago, 4 weeks out, we touched on most of the championship races. But for now, Joe Value, we're going to kick it off in the 250 on Tuesday, the Ultima Handicap. I think it's over 3 mile one. Very interesting race. Bear with us, lads, as we don't have declarations, but anything off the cup standing out at your hair, Joe?
Yeah, novices do quite well. I see there's a lot of money for this Noble Yates. Obviously, Emmett Mullins, you know, he's a dangerous man. He done a right job there with the shunter last year. He's lively in the betting. That Judy's favourite. Probably off the back of what Gordon said, he was the better treated of all his horses over in the festival. He didn't actually say that the horse was massively well handicapped or anything, but he got dropped 2 pounds from his Irish mark, which is kind of extraordinary. The rest of them got milled over it altogether. But I think it's a wide open race. Does he know it's very solid? He'll hop out there in front and do his own thing. It's a very tough race for me. But I did like Our Power the way he stayed on the last time at Wincanton, and he's a horse that he probably is improving away. If he can stay in contention early on, I think he'll be powering up the hill and might be worth a shot there at a huge price.
Yeah, definitely interesting. And I think is he trained by Sam Thomas? Yeah, who's having a very good year. If he got in, he'd be in off a lightweight. For me, lads, it evolves around one horse for me. I think like these big handicaps, it's very easy to get drawn into trying to back, 2 and 3 and there's 5 places or whatever. But I'm just going to stick with a horse that I know handles the track. I know is well handicapped, and that's Corrick Rambler. I'm going to go with Corrick Rambler each way. He will take his time. He might run in snatches. He might make an odd mistake. But when it comes to crunch time, if he can get like a trouble-free run, I really feel like he'll be coming home like a steam train in this race. And I think he's weighted off 10 stone too. So look, he's not. What's the max runners in this, Joe?
Oh, it could be 24. Something
like that. Well, then he should be in then. But look, let's hope he gets in anyway. And for me, I'll just go with Corrick Rambler. That he's only an 8-year-old. We haven't seen the best of him. He was about to stay on really well behind Does He Know and Parton Company and Ascot. But the way he won at Cheltenham, I think it was a couple of months ago, for me, looks like there could be plenty more in the locker, and a stiff 3 mile one in Cheltenham be right up his street. So I'm going to just stick with him. Right, then we're going to move on, Joe, to what is a bit of an onslaught on the bookies with this Irish. It's the Boodles Juvenile Hurdle. It's a grade 3. It's a 450 on Tuesday. I'm just going to 9-4, Joe. He was 6-1, 7-1. That wasn't good enough to smash them again. He's been backed at all prices. A funny angle into the race, but I can see where they're coming from, albeit a massive handicap on your first run.
Yeah, I went through his French form. Gaelic Warrior is the horse in question, Willie Mullins. Went through his French form, and I gauged that he was about between 12 and 15 lengths behind the real top notchers in France. So what would they be rated over here? Probably 160 or so, something like that. Do you know what I mean? Or 150, 160.
Yeah, I 140s for juveniles, probably.
Yeah. So what the people are saying down in Willie Mullins is this horse is a 150 horse all day long, every day of the week. Now he gets in here off a mark of 128. Going by that, you'd say he's absolutely thrown in. He is inexperienced, but you'd imagine that Willie Mullins would have brought him a few away days and the big string of horses that he has. I'm sure if like it's crazy. People are saying this lad could start 64, 74 in a race like this, and it's all through reputation more than what he's actually proven. So it's hard to be facing into him now, and whatever price he is, 2-1, 9-4. Unless there'll be lads there trying to dig themselves out of trouble after a bad start, and be lads trying to play up to winnings. This lad could end up a silly price. But look, the way they're talking, you'd have to respect it, and he could be a certainty. But I still like that Ebisari. He ran very well. Gordon Elliott trains him. He beat Adamantly Chosen in Cork first time over hurdles, which is no mean feat. Then he ran bad twice since, all right. But I have a feeling that they're happy enough with the mark they got. At least they're getting their own, and he could be an each way squeak there at a big price.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. Just a quick word on Gaelic Warrior. I just get the feeling, when Willie Mullen says, hold on, we won't go nowhere until Cheltenham. I get the feeling that the horse must have a good mentality that he's not worried about. Giving him the run. He's obviously schooled well over the Irish hurdles. That they're going straight here, and it must be a horse that they're happy that I seen a picture of appreciated schooling on the round at the Curragh the other day on the grass, so no doubt this horse was there as well, having a pop round the hurdles. Look, he's obviously it's an intriguing angle, but he could be a Stonewall good thing. However, it is a big field handicap, and you could be wiped out after.
Just a bit of word of warning. I remember about 10 years ago. I remember it so well because I backed the horse. It was on my birthday, and the name of the horse was Vendor, trained by Alan King, in the same race about 10 years ago, I think. He started 3-1 favourite. On the back of same type thing, he was rated the exact same, 1-8. He was a French horse, came over here, had one run in Newbury, absolutely dollied up, and then they got a mark of 128 and said it'd sit. And everyone said he's an absolute certainty, this, that, and the other. He ended up finishing third. So just a little wee word of warning that sometimes when these horses are said to be absolute handicap good things, just not always work out like.
Yeah, well, especially with the hustle and bustle of this race. I will give the favourite one other plus. He is by Maxios, who they tend to do well when they come to England. I've seen a few of them win races over this side of the water a lot. Right, so I'm just going to give a mention. Phil Dorr is in here, hard to know. I just seen an interview that he might run. The coat came off him. For me, I thought a dark horse in the race was HMS Seahorse. I thought he's done nothing wrong. He gets in off 10 stone 10. Maybe not a real top notcher, but fairly handicapped on what he's done. And he had some nice runs. He was third behind the two good horses, Pied Piper and Fubon first time. He then stepped up and was second to Tide Times. And then he went and won his race. And I just think it could be a dark horse. However, I have backed Luna Power each way at big prices. It will have 11 stone 4, but it has solid form in the book. Was a nice winner, and then was second to the good grey horse Phil Dorr twice. So definitely interesting. There was the McManus horse. I can't think of his name now, but he was, did he win in Nace?
Brazil.
If he showed up, that was a massive improved.
Yeah, they're humming and hawing about Brazil, whether he'll run or not. But Lunar Power definitely is interesting. Coming from the same stable who won the race last year with Jeff Kidder. So they know how to win the race.
Yeah, and I think they have one other one. But I'm active at 20-1 and 25. That price is still available, lads. It's not shortened or anything. I just think it'll run a race. If some of the better handicap ones are around it at the last, might struggle to win, but it'll be bang there. I can't see.
He ran very well in Fairyhouse against Phil Dorr, didn't he? That he kind of put it up to him until Phil Dorr kind of kicked on after the last. That was a good one. Yeah.
Absolutely, definitely.
Bit of better ground as well. Better ground at Super.
Better ground this is what I'm banking on, like I said. And don't ever be afraid to give a 20-1 shot a chance, lads, because he has form in the book. He's a good jumper, and he'll be thereabouts. Right, Joe, we're going to move on to Wednesday, the 250, the Coral Cup. This is an interesting race, lads. There's so many entries in here, we don't know what's going to go on, but we'll try and focus in, Joe, on a couple. So I'll come to you first. We have the likes of Good Time Johnny, who's been impressive in Leopardstown. Definitely looks a high-class horse. Can he transform it to Cheltenham? Good risk at all. Don't know if he'd be guaranteed a run here, but he's a 6-1 shot. Everything went right from an Ascot, and he finally put it together off a strongly run race. He looked very impressive. cut in off 10 stone 9, I think. And then I Am Maximus, I fancy here, but he mightn't get a run in it. I did tip him up in the non-runner no bet market, so if he doesn't run, it doesn't matter. But if he did get in, I'd like him. What stands out for you here, Joe? It's wide open. We don't know what's going, but definitely good time, Johnny. Interesting.
I think Saint Felician here for Gordon Elliott, Robbie Power will be riding it for Rob Core. I was amazed today that this lad finished behind Drasso, but I thought it was a really good run. He kind of kept very close to the pace that Felix Deji was setting, and he hit the front a bit too soon, I thought. And he was a sitting duck after the last. I can see him being ridden a lot more patiently, and just coming with his running into the last instead of being already there. I think they think he's pretty well handicapped. They think he's a very, very good horse, and it looks a bit of a long-term plan for this horse, and I think he'll be bang there.
Yeah, he's off 147. He's only a 5-year-old, and he got beaten, lads, by not a top-notcher, but by a real hardy horse, Drasso, that wins plenty of races, whether it be hurdles and chases. Drasso has lowered a few colours in days where he wasn't fancied. He's bounced up, so definitely no harm in that. I thought Good Risk at All was very good in Ascot. He needed that strongly ran race. Don't know if he can get in him. So, like I said, I have backed Good Time Johnny. He is, I think, off a mark now 130. What is he up to? 139, which I still think there's room for improvement off that. However, they brought him over to Cheltenham the last day, and whether they had the handbrake on and they were only out for a scenery, that's what I'm hoping. But or else, for me, he wouldn't have been at home on Cheltenham that he was at Leopardstown. However, he's a good horse on the up. Right, if I Am Maximus gets in, which I don't think he will, for me, I think he'd be a massive, massive player. Right, Joe, we'll move on from the Coral Cup, and we're going to go to the Grand Annual, the 450. What an interesting race this is. I think Sky Pirate won it last year. He'll be up against it this year off top weight. Brave Saskia, very interesting horse for me. Only nudged up a pound after a really solid run the last day in Warwick behind the Arkle favourite. Course Sublime, if he came in here off America 150, would be lively. A dark horse down the bottom, Joe. Give us your thoughts on this. Time White. If Time White gets in here off 10-12, could be a very lively horse.
He would. He travels like a dream. He jumps very well. He's not ground dependent either, and he's definitely going the right way. But I think you mentioned the winner already. If to go for this race and not the Arkle, that's Course Sublime. I know he can be a bit of a bridle horse and all this, but this race should fall perfect for him. They'll go a million mile an hour. He can just cruise around on the bridle. He was one of Gordon Elliott's best workhorses when he was trained there. Trained by Henry now. I was really impressed with his running Gorham Park. Finished out the race fierce strong, and that was at a time that Henry's weren't actually running that well. But he dotted up that day. I know the form was taking knocks and all that, but still in all, he has form around Cheltenham. Sorry.
He showed his well-being,
He showed his well-being, and he's shown in the past that Cheltenham doesn't bother him. He was second in the Triumph Hurdle, having looked all over the winner. I can see him cruising there, turning in, and then it's up to himself then after that.
Whether he goes through with it. Yeah, he was always, he's the most beautiful model of a horse. I've seen him in the flesh. I might have sat on him, I can't remember enough, but I've seen him in the flesh. And it was always a high class horse. Even I remember when he returned one day in Down Royal over hurdles, he absolutely slooshed him. There is a very, very big engine in him. However, the mentality, it wouldn't be of a Mike Tyson now. It'd be more of a Floyd Mayweather. Don't want to get into too much of a flush. But no, he's dead. Look, I've backed him at big prices, as you know. I backed him and Brave Saskia. They've both halved in price. Brave Saskia, I just want to make, he's done nothing wrong all year. I was very worried when they went to Warwick. I said, oh, fuck, now he could run too well and go up 6 or 7 pounds. He ran as good as he could have, and he only nudged him up a pound. And I said to myself, all right. He's
a big player, yeah.
He's a big player. And Time White is the dark horse in the race, lads. Look, it's a 2-mile handicap chase in Cheltenham. Don't have your strongest bets on in this race, because one mistake and you could go from, having a great chance to having no chance. Right, Joe, we're going to move on to Thursday, which is a big day for the Cold Bear Sports Patreon service. as we kick it off on the 2:10 on Thursday, the Pertemps Network final. And this is my one that I really, really like above all, is Alaphilippe. He's in here off a mark of 138, 10 stone 8 on his back. And the only issue Paddy Brennan will have is if he can hang on to him, he'll be going that fast when he's going up the hill. Go on, take it away, Joe. Are you with or against me?
Oh, no, definitely. He's definitely a player. He's very solid now, I have to say, the last few days. He was a bit weak in the machine, but he's after strengthened right back up. The big mover in this race is Winter Fog, Emmett Mullins' horse again. He got touched off there in Epperstown around Christmas time. He hit the front way too soon. I think it could have been the Dublin Festival, actually. And, he's been tipped up by, pretty shrewd cookies, I suppose. Kevin Blake, he'd be a really good judge. He fancies him strong, so does David Jennings. But I like your horse. He has, experience at the festival and all that. I think that's massive. And it'll take a fair one to beat him now.
Yeah, look, I'm not even going to mention another horse in the race. I just think as far as the handicaps go, I think this is the boy for Cheltenham. I know now, look, they're big fields, anything can go wrong. But what I will say is with a clean round, with no issues, he will win. That's my gut feeling. My gut feeling off a mark of 138 is that he'll be on the bridle going to the last, and the rest of them will have their tongue hanging out. And Paddy Brennan.
There's one horse, can I just mention, Paddy, called Dunboyne. I tipped him up last time now, and he ran moderate, I suppose, but he did get kind of hampered as well. I'm very afraid of him because he's a Gordon Elliott project as well. He's very strong in the betting now as well. I see the last couple of days. He's probably definitely going for this race. He's a horse that we haven't seen the best of yet, and he'd be a bit of a danger. I wouldn't like to see him upside just now going over the last, because he'll definitely keep staying on strong,
Yeah, if he gets in, he mightn't get in.
Please God, he doesn't. It'd be handy if he didn't.
No, well, for me, look, I'm not going to be sideshowing this, that, and the other. This horse off a mark of 138 is probably the best handicapped horse at the Cheltenham Festival for me. Anyway, I might be wrong, but I know I'm right. So fill your pockets. Right. We'll move on. So, Joe, and a horse you're very sweet on here, and this is the second leg. Just to let everyone know, in the Cold Bear Sports Patreon service, we have done a €350 win double on Alaphilippe and Joe's selection in this race, and that any winnings will be split between everybody in the Patreon service. So, Joe, make a case in the Paddy Power Plate in the 4:10 on Thursday. Who's the second winner in the double?
Imperial Alcazar. This has always been thought of a really, really good horse. Last year they were going to go for the Stairs Hurdle, but decided to go for the Pertemps. He did disappoint in that, and then they decided to go over fences. That was the plan all along, anyway. And the first time up at Newbury, ran okay, finished second to a good horse of Silver Forever from Paul Nichols. Then they went to Chepstow. Ground was a bit deep, but still in all, the horse that won that race, Pat's Fancy, has gone on to do good things. And his third run of the season, he absolutely bolted up last time, over course and distance. The ground, he doesn't want the ground too soft, I think. Just good to soft, or soft to be fine. Anything after that now, I know he's won on softer, but he's just a better horse on better ground. If he runs anywhere like he did the last time, I think he's going to be bang there. The favourite, Celeb Dallin, gets very low at his fences and would probably prefer heavier ground. I think I can take him on with this Imperial Alcazar with a fair amount of confidence.
Yeah, look, he finally pushed together what everybody knew he was. Just a quick word, they were running him over trips. They ran him in Chepstow over a staying trip. He just never settled. They didn't. His attribute was took away from him. He was keen. But he travelled like a machine till the last furlong. But
this man is one of the best workhorses to have now. I know that for a fact. He works like a team.
He put it together the last day, and I think, lads, we're going to see this horse next year in the Grade 1 races, no doubt about it. He's whatever's taking him a minute. I think Off a mark of 152. I know you say, fuck, that's a big mark in a handicap. It is, but not for a horse that's a real top-notcher. And he showed the last day, carrying 11 stone 12. He smashed the horse of Dan Skelton's that ran well enough in Kempton the next time. But it was a no contest. And I think you're on the money here. So let's hope we can land that big 350 win double. Imperial Alcazar and Alaphilippe, both trained by the same man, both ridden by the same jockey. So
Paddy Brennan, the horses are starting to run well, Paddy. The last few weeks, you see, like they went a bit quiet there for about a month. But you see now the last couple of weeks, it's P. Brennan, Fergal O'Brien, winners most days now again. Wait till you see the next 3 or 4 weeks. They're just going to go on a mad one.
Yeah, well, let's hope Cheltenham is the one. I just give a quick mention to one other horse, lads, that could run well as the Glancing Queen. In off 10-12, definitely a nice mare. And it's a bit of money for her into 8-1. So if anyone wanted a little each way bet as a saver when we're waiting on a big double, maybe. But anyway, no, I think Imperial Alcazar is the horse. And it just hasn't happened for him, but they got the tactics right the last day. They just let him do his thing, and he
exactly
absolutely
massive
unbelievable. Now, the one thing he will do in this race, he will have no issue holding his posse and all that, because he's just a classy horse. So definitely interesting. Right, Joe, we're going to move on to Friday, the 210, the county hurdle. Definitely same thing again, lots of entries. Don't know what's going to run. I'm just going to chuck it over to you. A lot of the horses might even get in, but definitely West Cork, an interesting horse off 11 stone 1. Broomfield Burg, don't even know if we get a run. And outside of that, there's a lot of horses double entered.
I'm wondering what race Stateman goes for. He
stronger
could be
stronger for the Martin Pipe. I think he's been backed more so for the Martin Pipe, I think. In the bet.
Yeah, well, there's not a whole lot between them now on the exchanges between what race to go for. He's what do you get, a mark of 141 or something like that. I think that probably underestimates him. And if he was to get in, like, it's hard to know. I suppose inexperience is against him. Echoes in Rain is very interesting as well. On her day, she's very classy. A big field like this will suit her. She'll be able to cut her way through the pack. She could be banged there. But I mean, you're talking my mate Muzzy as well, not going for the Supreme, but going here. Will Cheltenham suit him? I don't think it will. I'd rather the held bag for Ferry House or Punchestown or something like that. I think a right-handed track would suit him better. But it's a wide open race, I think. I'm hoping Stateman doesn't go for this race. I'm hoping he waits for the Martin Pipe. I'd fancy him strongly in that. This race here, it's a wide open contest in my opinion, and I don't really have a play. If it came up really soft, maybe Colonel Mustard, something like that. He's very solid for it.
Yeah, he is. He's a nice horse. I got a nice touch off him the last day he ran. I backed him for 4 places and 3 places, was it?
He's better on soft, is he, Paddy? On soft ground.
He's a solid horse, Joe. I don't like the ground in Cheltenham be fine for him. You know, as long as you're not going to have quick ground in Cheltenham.
No.
I might be wrong, but I don't like the ground in Cheltenham be fine for him. He's just a solid horse. He ran well behind John Bond in a slowly ran race, and then he ran behind a couple of really fucking good horses.
That was a great run, that was a great run.
So, right, this race for me, lads, I did like Bloomfield Burg. If they changed, nothing again, Nico de Bonville, but he just doesn't seem to be getting on with this horse. But if he did get in, I don't know if he will. I'd like to see Aidan Coleman ride him and just walk him out last. And I reckon he'd come up the hill like a rocket. He's too keen, and they're jumping him off, kind of half dropping him in, and sure, he's in front fucking four hurdles from home. Can he get into the race? Who knows? He might not even get in, but if he does, he would be a player. Although, like, he's been called a few names in the past, but a big field scenario like this with the right man anchoring him at the back and just be last to challenge, he could run a big one. So, like I said, West Cork, I wouldn't put anyone off this horse, lads, off the mark, and sneaking in off 11-1. He's been put away for the race, and the trainer's record is it's very good in 2 mile Cheltenham handicaps. Even at the festival, it's very good as well in all the handicaps. Right, so Joe, we're going to move on to the Martin Pipe, the legend himself. Martin Pipe, I was lucky enough to meet the man. He often gave me a bag of grapes. I often schooled a quick funny story about Martin Pipe. Anytime you used to ride for them years ago, him and his wife will come into the the parade ring, and every rider would have to sign the race card, and his wife would ask you to sign the race card. And then any morning, if I was going, say, racing in somewhere down south in Taunton or Exeter or somewhere, and if you might pop into school a horse for them over fences, so you go in and there'll be a little bowl on the table, and the little see-through plastic bags, there'll be your name on it, each jockey's name on it, with about 3 or 4 grapes in the bag on the way to the races. So funny people, lovely man, and really, really great people. So just a funny story from a legend I was lucky enough to ride from before he retired, and I rode some for his son as well, David. But what a racing family, and unbelievable. Right, so what a race it is. And Joe, now we're talking about Statman here again. He's obviously favoured for both races at the minute. 4-1 now for this race. Hollow Games, I heard Elliot saying he might go here. I don't know. I think the Goffer could be interesting. Won the other day around Thurles. Ard Hill mightn't get into this race. If he did, could be interesting. Grand Jury, Indigo Breeze, another novice hurdler. Looks more of a chaser and doesn't look the finished article mentally either. What are you thinking here, Joe?
No, this is the one. Statman, I think, is the one if he goes in this. I just think that his handicap mark underestimates him a bit. Langer Dan, boys, I'm not too sure about him. I know, like, he's serious running the same race last time behind Galpin the Shams, but this haunting run didn't really excite me. He got dropped £3 for lads who are losing, they're getting very excited over it. Jeez, I don't know. I wouldn't mind taking him on anyway. If this Statman runs up against him, I know which one I'll be on.
Yeah, it's like, do you know what? I don't listen, I know trainers plot for races and they're just, you're seeing what they want you to see. But for me, I would have liked a small bit more from him the last day, Langer Dan as well. But there's one angle here that he's £5 higher too this year. So here's the thing. He's after being very, very well backed since that run. And I am shocked at that. I thought he might drift. He's into four. So if you ask me, he done what they wanted him to do. And that was canter around the back and head on to Cheltenham. That's what but
look, in fairness, he looked a good horse even when he won the Imperial Cup, and then he cut it through the pack there last year to chase down or try and chase down Galpin the Champs. That was impossible, obviously. He probably is a smart man's horse. What about Chemical Energy?
They come in off £3 lower then as well for the run. So
I know.
So they've got him back now £2 above that massive run. Look, I'm just gonna say, I know Dan Skelton, how good he is at targeting Cheltenham handicaps. I'm just going to say he done exactly what they needed him to do, and that was blow away the cobwebs. Definitely wouldn't be backing him at the price, but look, it's a wide open race. I did think if Ard Hill got in, he would run well. The Goffer lads, the other day the Goffer won well, I thought.
He's an improver, isn't he? He really is a solid improver.
I did the other day. I thought, obviously you're watching all the Cheltenham entries closely, and I thought there was a lot to like about it now, and I wouldn't mind. He might run well, but anyway, that's the Martin Pipe hurdle. Have the pipes anything in it themselves? Well, we scroll out and have a look. No, not so far anyway. So.
Doesn't look like it, no. As far as
it doesn't look like it, so I was going to go to maybe a student. Gordon Elliott was one of the pipes.
Gordon is throwing 6 at it, I think.
Yeah, he liked to win it, no doubt. Interesting. Right, lads. Listen, I hope that puts you in the way of a couple of winners. Obviously, me and Joe are very sweet on Alaphilippe on Thursday in the Pertemps Network, and Imperial Alcazar in the 410 on Thursday. So yeah, we've 2 hours to know if we landed the big one for the Patreon service. Anything else, Joe?
Can I mention one horse for the Kim Muir? We never touched on Kim Muir. Yeah, there's a horse there I really like in this called Mr. Coffee. I think he's around a 14 or 16 to 1 chance. Now, he is stepping up a lot in trip, but he'll be able to, but he does want to step up in trip, there's no doubt about that. First, he was a very decent hurdler. He was favoured to win one of the big races at Aintree. Actually, you tipped up the winner at Tronador. Mr. Coffey was favoured to win that. Staying on at the death. They went over fences then. this season. Started them off at 2 mile, way too short from, ran well on a left-handed track. Then they went right-handed at Christmas. It was totally against them, yeah. And then they went right-handed again at Sandown. But do you know why they've done that, Paddy? Think about it. Why did they do that? Because they want to protect, they want to get a handicap mark from, and they want to aim them at something for Cheltenham. That's the conclusion that I'm coming to. Now, I'm surprised that they're stepping him right out to 3 mile 200 Muir, but they obviously think he'll stay. And it looks as though he will, because over 2.5 mile last time at Sandown, even though he was a long way behind the winner, Lahom Press, who was an absolute machine, as we know, he did well to run down Pick Dory, who was second. He's taken a steep drop in class now. I'm hoping to get someone like Will Buick or something like that, a real
top-notch amateur.
And tell you, if to do, this 14-1 won't last, or 16-1 won't last, because he's definitely going for the race. He's classy. He's back on a left-handed track. He jumps like a buck when he's going left-handed. And I think this could be a real long-term plan. The fact that Nicky's happy to step him up so much in the trip, you have to take a chance that he'll stay, even though it is on the new course, which is a stiffer track. Yeah. I'm happy to take a chance that he will stay at 14-16-1. I'm very sweet on him.
And that's the 5:30 lads on Thursday, the Kim Muir. Right, I just wanted to give a quick mention to him, Joe. When he did all wrong at Kempton, he still stayed on well. So I can see why, his best work was when he straightened out over the back of the last. He actually ran on. Yeah. So I can see the angle.
Another horse had fallen in a hole there.
Yeah,
he just keep going.
I will say one thing. I wouldn't back him unless there was the top-notch amateur riding him.
Absolutely agree.
Because he is tricky. He will tilt a little left, and when it comes to crunch time, you will need a man that can straighten him out and get him running.
Maybe Sam Wiley-Corn, would he do, or something like that?
Yeah. Well, someone with plenty of experience, like a Will Billick, Sam Wiley-Corn, or someone with plenty of experience in these races.
Like the markets after finding that frontal assault, and Rob James is taking 7 off. That's fair enough. You can see it. Yeah. It's like Milan native. He kind of improved massively in this race, but like he's 4-1, boys. How can you back a horse 4-1 and give it the top of the fence?
Frontal assault. Listen, this horse took 6 years to learn how to gallop around the gallop. Never mind gallop around Cheltenham. He was very, very green, very raw. He used to wander left to right on the gallops as a young horse. But a horse that was that raw, that green, could still show some ability throughout that rawness and greenness. So don't be surprised if we see him step up. However, I wouldn't back him myself at that kind of price. But he's obviously a horse that, has ran well throughout all the slow learning, throughout his career, because he was a very, very slow learner.
Yeah, I just think your man, Mr. Coffey, he has a small touch of class. He'll travel at his ease against these, and he's a great jumper on a left-handed track. He'll jump pretty straight, I'd imagine. And I think he'll be bang there turning in as like everything else. Will he go on and be good enough to do it? Then I think he will be. Well, I'm hoping he will be anyway. I think he's a right back. Great chance there for
right. Well, listen, speaking of the pipes, before we let you go, Jericho Rook is in here, and my guess is I have lost some money.
Where you go, have I know. Here's your brother.
Right, this horse has been, like, for me, every time a good thing.
Yeah, I tell you,
he just let me down. But you know what? If he did run in here, he will run a big race, and might be interesting at a price. Joe, just a quick word on the Gold Cup. Have you come down on that? Because, I've gone on horses, I've gone off horses, and I just can't, I just can't do it. And then, I'm even giving Tornado Flyer now I watch back the Ryanair he ran in last year, and I'm like, Jesus, he was out the back. He was not an X. He's only getting running late, and I'm thinking, could he come into it? I gave him no chance for the last few weeks, and then I watched back the Ryanair, and I'm like, yeah, but then he's a 9-year-old now. I think he's 9 now, and I was like, he'll hardly come now. I don't know, lads.
Mickey D's horse is a big mover. That one of Skelton's, what do you call it, Protractor or whatever.
Yeah, no. I'm back to him at a big price.
he's after getting very solid now. I think he's only 7-1, 8-1 chance. But look, I'm going to stick with a Plutard. I just think he's classy. He's running head up, blew me away. He wasn't at his had to go around the outside, and then Rachel was very mad keen to use up a little bit of petrol to block Davy in. And by the time she jumped the last, she was punctured. Henry's wasn't running that great, as I said earlier on at the time. I thought last year's run was a brilliant run. I thought he was fierce unlucky. If you look back, he ploughed through the third last. Second last, he wasn't that clever either. He got within a length and a quarter of Mililando, who's a very good horse around Cheltenham. Is Mililando the same horse that he was last year? You'd have to have your doubts. I think a Plutard is very solid. I think he's around 7-2 now. I couldn't change my mind on him. I'm sticking with him.
Yeah, no, I backed Tornado each way, and I have your lad in Yankee, all right, or in a Lucky. I have that your lad in a Lucky, but I think I had a bet on Protector at each way. I just thought he's the young up and comer. I tipped him up when he won an entry last year. He done me a right turn. He was the outsider of the field that day, actually, and I said I couldn't really have him. And then the more I think about, I watched his entry run, and I was like, right, he beat a horse that's kind of not gone, but Native River and that. Yeah, he could only walk them. He travelled the best. But when I watched back the race in Cheltenham, as the big handicap chase of when he carried 11 stone 12, I was like, right, this was a serious run. He was staying on the whole way. The Sue Smith horse bet him, was it? Or
yeah, the horse is dead now. Midnight Shadow, yeah.
So I looked at that run and I was like, okay, this is a fucking classy horse, because he really finished out the race with a massive weight, and I was thinking he'd have a chance. But look, I don't know, it's wide open, and I'm not going to sit down and say to you, I don't even know if I'm capable of finding the winner. So I've had a few little each way bets, Protector at, and the horse of Willie's I just mentioned, and I have your man in a Yankee. Or whatever.
I will mention the race after the Gold Cup, the 100 chase. And there's a horse by the name of Bob and Co. in this. He needed a run badly at Haydock.
Yeah.
And he was going fierce well in this race last year when he unseated Sean Bone. All the professional jockeys were riding in this last year, obviously, because of COVID. He was cantering and he came down. He was unlucky. He went to Punchestown then, and David Maxwell beat Bob and Co.
That's right. In a thrilling photo finish as well. What a race it was.
Savage race, yeah. And he went to Stratford, then he was over the top. Obviously, he took his summer break, then came back a Haydock, drifted like a barge on the exchanges, needed to run. They were happy, just wants to qualify for the Fox Hunters again. And I think you'll find that he improves massively for this. And I think at 7 or 8-1, he's a free bet each way. Really do.
Definitely an interesting horse. He's no doubt a very good horse, no doubt about it. And
he was one of the top chasers in France before David Maxwell bought him. Paid an absolute fortune for him. He would have been rated a real solid Grade 2 horse anyway. And he's running against horses now that this second favourite, Wings Crusader, he's had a heap of runs and he's not that old, but I wouldn't have thought that he was a.
Is that the Christie horse? No.
Yes. Yeah. He's that, and he's that's the one he's bringing. Yeah. Look, if he does win, he's been beaten in worse races than this. That's what I'll put. And I don't think he's as classy as Bob and Co. But he's a shorter price than Bob and Co. I'm happy to go with Bob and
Co. Right after the Gold Cup, yeah. Right, the 4:10 lads on Friday. So just to be clear, lads, if you're interested, Bob and Co, who Joe is talking about, he is very, very good. He's shown that a couple of times. And Wing Leader has been winning all right. Cat Tiger, he has 2 winners. I see Maxwell, he might want to trees them all into it, I suppose, in case one pulls out. Definitely an interesting horse. Is an 11-year-old, Joe, does that bother you?
No, not at all. No, he's lightly raced lately, that kind of way. So he showed me enough at Haydock to say that, he still has the enthusiasm and all that. He just got a bit of a balls of a ride around the inside and heavy ground, and the winner came up the Golden Highway. But he did stay on well at the dead, and he would have he kind of got his second win. He stayed on well, so I think he'd be bang there now.
Right, Joe, who kicks off the festival with a winner? Who get the boys flying on Tuesday? My win.
Either one of Nicky's. I think people are forgetting about. They're getting so involved in what will Willie do. Will he run this lad here, that lad there? They're forgetting about the best horse in the race, which I think now is Constitution Hill. I don't think John Bond will be too far away, but I think Constitution Hill, lads. If Willie or Gordon or any top Irish trainer trained this lad and won their maiden hurdle in Navan, and then they went on, brought him across the water to win the Tolworth, and he won like that. Every paddy from Donegal to Cork will be saying, this lad is an absolute machine. He's the best horse in circle. Yeah, there you go. Exact same thing. And the paddy will try and take on the English horse with one of their own. And best of luck trying to beat this lad. I think this Constitution Hill. Unfortunately, I tipped up John Bond before. He might still win, but I don't think it'll be Constitution Hill. I think he's the real deal.
Yeah, no, it's another race that I didn't delve too deep. Obviously, I backed Mighty Potter at big prices earlier in the year each way. He looks up against it, but a place will do me fine. Look, lads, to get you off to a flyer on Tuesday, I think don't be too far off Edwardstone in the Arkle and Corrick Rambler in the Ultima Handicap Chase. I think for me, they're the two I'll be looking at. Hopefully to get away and going. I am going to do an old play spot each day on Cold Bear Sports as well, and on the Mad Merrigan Facebook for a bit of fun. It's just a fun bet to do. Might do one each day, see can we hit it. So yeah, and I'm sure Joe will be doing a few funky bets as well. We might try in an odd little tricksy in it throughout the week as well. So tune in, lads, and don't miss out. Joe Value, thanks for your time. I hope you skin the bookies like the barber skinned your head.
Thanks, God.
Take care, lads. God bless. And remember, when it kicks off Tuesday, it's a war. Hey.